All right, Kiko, thank you so much for joining me today. I so appreciate it. Of
Thank
course,
you.
yes, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, it comes out September 2nd. Fans are going to be very, very happy with this album, I think. It's fast, it's heavy, it's apocalyptic. I feel like it's better than Dystopia, which is a very good album.
Wow,
Um,
you.
yeah, I
Great.
mean, in the studio, was it just the goal to absolutely crush and to be as fast and like heavy as possible on a Megadeth record?
At some point, yes, some songs, but it's interesting to think about, to reflect from a distance now, right? When people start hearing the songs and commenting, uh, I think we went through a lot of difficult moments, and then that feeling aggressive, feeling energetic, wanting to show what we are capable of, all those things. I think Dave with the cancer, COVID, not able to finish the work that we were doing in 2019, being apart, right? So all those feelings, and then it somehow is there in the music, because of course we had all the songs, we had all the ideas, and then we start shaping the album toward that, you know um, being aggressive, being fast, apocalyptic, as you said. I like that.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Dave went through a very hard time. He was actually going through chemotherapy and radiation, and then going right into the studio afterwards. Like,
Yeah,
how was he able to do that, and how was his performances, even under those difficult circumstances?
yeah, man. It was his Dave, right? For me, it's like his Dave. He's just like brave, and it was incredible because I think, like, was on Thursday his chemo, right? So we would work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday would be a day off, or maybe we'll do some stuff without him, but mainly a day off. Then Friday, depending how he felt, he would show up. We were like in a house, in a studio, close to his house. Very convenient, so he could come, rest, go back. So yeah, so sometimes working on the weekends as well, because kind of our day off was more the Thursday, right? So yeah, he was there. It's incredible. Then after, like, the second phase of the treatment, so we went home, and then we did a short tour in Europe, and then the COVID came. So that then the songs were already, the structure, the songs were there, kind of, not 100%. And then during COVID, a bit remotely, but then Dirk went to the studio, and then later I went there. It was kind of, hard moments to, can we fly? Can we go? How are we going to go there? Can we stay? Can we stay together? All those fears, but we made it.
Yeah, it's amazing to think because I remember when Dave was finally back and he was announcing on stage that he was 100% cancer free. Everyone was happy. It seemed like everything was good to go, and then of course COVID hits and just kind of shuts the machine down again, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, everybody associates Megadeth with Dave, obviously, but you've been in the band for quite some time now, and I want to know exactly how much lead playing do we hear from you, and how much like riff writing do we get from your perspective in this record?
Well, I think I have 8 songs that I collaborate with, and I had the chance to bring riffs and, like, first stage ideas, I would say, like songs like the riff from "We'll Be Back" or "Night Stalker," those songs. And I believe this is because now I understand the band, better, right?
Yeah.
Understand Dave, understand the fans, the legacy, playing the songs. We played a lot live. So in different countries, shaking hands of different fans in different places, different ages, different countries, different cultures. Um, and of course, knowing Dave, the intimacy of touring together, right? Hanging the whole day, breakfast, lunch, on stage, after the difficult moments, the great moments, the Grammy and the hard
Yeah.
traveling days, whatever it is, together, being together. And this helps a lot. Maybe well, I think people can understand that. Maybe for a non-musician, maybe it's harder to understand, but when you're like creating something, it's like it's you. It's like it's who you are. So if you're, even if it's like a metal riff, it's like that's what you like, you think is good. So when you present to the other, you know, it was like you're afraid of being rejected, right?
Oh yeah.
So oh, I don't like this riff. This is not so good. And then you feel like, oh, he doesn't like me, right? Of course, though, that message is not that clear, but you might feel like rejected. So the more intimacy you get, the more time together doing other stuff, not only playing, of course, but doing living, helps. So and also understanding the band better and all that. So I was able to bring ideas that I know that is perfect for Megadeth. And I'm always thinking about Megadeth. I don't think about pleasing Dave, and I don't think about pleasing the fans. I work towards pleasing the entity, the Megadeth entity. I have an advantage. If I well, Dave has a lot of other advantages, of course, because he was always there. But I have a thing that Dave doesn't have, which is I was a fan.
Yeah.
Right? I was in '91 watching them playing Rust in Peace in front of me as a fan. So I was like, here's the Coke inside the bottle, and from outside I can see the logo, and I know the feeling of being that guy watching them live. He doesn't have this. He might have like watching another band like Motorhead or I don't know, Led Zeppelin or something, AC/DC. But I have with him, so that feeling. So how to bring that feeling in musical notes, What I'm happy about this album is that I was able to write things like guitar riffs and present to Dave, like, who would have the courage, hey, Dave, I have a thrash metal riff for you to be in a Megadeth album, because, he's the one able to do that. He knows how to do that, So, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool too because as you're saying, the things that you're able to bring into Megadeth, I think also something that you and Dirk brought into Megadeth was like a new sort of positivity within the band's inner workings. Because of course, in the history of Megadeth, there was a lot of tension between bandmates in certain eras of the band. But Dave has obviously given you and Dirk nothing but praise this whole time. It just seems like everything within Megadeth is like as good as it's ever been, at least from an outside perspective. So how would you talk about the inner workings of Megadeth and like the positivity that you and Dirk have been able to bring into the group?
One thing that is important to say, I have my own history playing with bands and other people, and my experience, and
Sure.
I've been those places as well, right? To have discussions or fights and with bandmates. I know, not in Megadeth. So I think when I joined Megadeth was also an opportunity for me to reflect on that and to be like, okay, here it's like I have a white canvas, and then I understand those feelings, whatever fights, discussions, and stuff inside any group of people. It's not only for exclusive thing from metal bands, or there's any group of people you have fights, or in any couple, will have problems and discussions and fights and separation and divorce and all that. So how to deal with that? I think the older you get, you have the experience. You don't want to have that feeling, So joining Megadeth, and I know I can say this. I know that Dirk thinks the same way, and Dave as well. I can say like Dave and James, because they're older than me, and we talk a lot because I'm sometimes I face personal situations that they've been through already, you know, right? Because they're older, they've been doing this for a long time. So, it's a great, and it's a great thing to share those things, because that makes you more closer to the human beings inside a band, not to the rock stars or to the musicians, to the human beings. And that helps everything. And then it helps the musicianship, the relation, the songs, and all that.
Yeah. I have to say, I'm slightly disappointed that you weren't able to get any flute solos on this record. I've seen you shredding on that flute before. I kind of want to hear flute on a Megadeth record, to be honest with you. Do you ever think that could be a possibility?
And I have to reveal that, which is not on the liner notes in the credits on the album, but there is a flute there on the
There.
album. Yeah. So the song Night Stalker, there's like a moment that stops. It's an acoustic guitar, and there's like I did the orchestration, like some orchestral things, and there's like some long notes and like actually it was Dave told me like I play the flute there, It's like it's not like whatever, solo, flute solo, but it's just that like with the orchestra notes, just to have like a real instrument. And then I had my flute there, and then we sent the flute to for repairing, to make it the tuning. I'm not a flute player, but like the simple melody I was able. So is there, but it's not. There's no credit.
Oh,
It's just cool. Would be cool. Flute by Kiko.
That's cool. I'll have to listen to that song and listen out for that flute.
No, it's like the orchestration is a breakdown. Has like an acoustic moment, and then you're gonna hear like an orchestra underneath. So the flute is blended there, as any orchestra. The flute is just helping to create the layer, right? The texture, That was fun. Yeah.
Sure thing. Yeah. So in joining Megadeth, you kind of suddenly, as you said, got to find yourself as bandmates with these people that you grew up listening to. And now in this record, you got to record an album with Steve DiGiorgio, who's like one of the greatest bassists ever. And now you're touring with James Lomenzo. So you're kind of like lining up all of these musicians that are like these legends. What's been the experience like kind of getting chemistry with these new legendary artists?
Well, with James, I had with Steve, Steve, I was not there on this, due to the whole situation. I was not there because of COVID as well. So, but with James, yes, now we're touring together, get to know the person. And what can I say? He's like an amazing person. As I said, he has experience to share. He's a super funny guy. He's a funny guy. He's a great musician, and he has like a unique style, and he has all this knowledge, of the experience, and it's just great to hang with him, to be around, to jam. We do play. He likes jamming. He's like from this jamming generation, I guess. I don't know, or he has this jamming vibe, so he likes to be playing. So, and I'm the same. So anytime we have some free time backstage, we go to the jam room and just play some blues, some stuff, just play something, and it's great. So it's like a way to make this friendship even better. One of the best things touring with those guys like Dave and James, the stories. The stories that you would love to hear, but you can't.
I understand. It's probably not for public consumption.
Yeah, because sometimes it's not because it's like something weird or crazy. It's just because it's about somebody else. Then you cannot, some other people they played with in the past or something, some stories they saw, some people that cannot, if you don't name it, the story is not so fun, so.
Yeah. Uh, Speaking of stories, I would love to know, since you've been in Megadeth for quite a number of years now, what is there a moment in your tenure with Megadeth that you would call your favorite moment?
Well, there's some special moments, like the first time I played live with them. Of course, like those first times, they're, they just, they're there, like printed in your brain, in your memory. Of course, like the first show was in Quebec, and was a big event. It was like a big festival, city festival. It was like so it's like, I don't know, 70,000 people. This is like surreal, because it was like this huge stage, just raining, and then it's kind of wet. It was like even more difficult than a normal concert. And then I was like, suddenly I was watching Megadeth from a perspective. I was watching Dave play from a different perspective, like that silhouette, that's kind of his logo,
Mhm.
And I could see against the light. So this image is like very strong, my memory. The silhouette of Dave singing, and then the rain and this massive people. That's like, is a photo in my brain.
Yeah, is it terrifying the first show with Megadeth? Because I know as a musician, even when you play a song for the first time live, it's a little nerve wracking because you're like, oh, this is the first time I've done this. But you're playing an entire set in front of a giant amount of people. But is it that when you step on stage and the show starts, you finally feel comfortable and you're just in the zone, or do those nerves carry on?
Um, so yeah, that's basically, practicing for that show was not about learning the notes. It was like practicing of not to be nervous.
Mm.
How to control your all your thoughts. But everything went fine. But you have to work not to have those destructive thoughts, like, oh, and what is going to happen if I miss that chord? What is going to happen if I play like uh, the worst thing is not like playing a bad note. It's more like, let's say, like a Tout le Monde intro, where it's like only you on stage, like this very simple, clean guitar. It's
Oh,
like, and they're gonna play something completely wrong, like, because it's like, it's simple, and you're not allowed to play something, some wrong chord there. So yeah, those thoughts, have to kind of train not to have those weird thoughts. So like, I gotta play a wrong chord now, and then you do it. If you think you'll play, you know. Or now it's coming this, so whatever, Hangar 18 solo, or like Tornado of Soul solo. So now is the solo time. So of course you're gonna miss the first note, something like that. You cannot think like this, otherwise it's just had to be. I've been playing guitar for my entire life. That's my thought. That's what I think. Man, I play guitar for my entire life. I know how to play those songs. It's all good. Let me enjoy this. It's not easy to think like this, but that's the work.
for sure. Well, Kiko, thank you very much for giving me your time today. Good luck with the show tonight. It's a big show, touring with Five Finger and a bunch of other great bands. Uh, Tour starts tonight. And of course, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, September 2nd. Again, Megadeth fans are going to love this thing. And thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. It was it was great to talk to you.